it's so nice to see little pockets of anarchy popping up like all over the world. And we've gotten messages saying, thank you so much for throwing this conference. How can I throw an anarchy conference in my community? And I'm like, yeah, just do it.
From Anarchapulco, Mexico, this is Anarchast.
Hey everybody, welcome to another show. All right, listen up. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. I'm here in Las Vegas at a secret location. I cannot tell you where we're at because I don't want you guys to show up because there's some creepers out there. But I'm here with two great people. I'm here with Kingsley Edwards and Erin Nakamoto. I don't think that's her real last name, but very interesting. We're going to get into some really interesting, cool stories, actually some horrible stories as well. One with Kingsley's father who had some cocaine in his pocket like 20, 30, 40 years ago, and he's still in jail for it. We're going to get into that horrible government story. We're also going to get into they actually are hosting the first Anarchovegas, which is coming up in just a few weeks. I'm actually here in Vegas. I'm going to go back to the land of the free, Mexico, and then come back to Vegas. And another crazy story there about how you guys lost your hotel. Lots of crazy stories. This is, you know, if you want something interesting, this is going to be very interesting. Kingsley also is a tech entrepreneur. He started LeetCoin. That's when I first met you. I think I met your parents first. Yeah. Yeah, Chrissy and Norm that came to Anarchapulco for many years. I met them at Bitcoin conferences. So a lot of history here, and many other interesting things we're going to get into. So where should we, well, first question I have to ask is, how did you become an anarchist? We can start with whoever wants to go first.
You can go
Should I go
first.
first? Okay. How did I, oh yeah, okay, I remember. So I joined the Navy after high school, but besides that, and then, you know, as you mentioned, my father has been in prison for over 25 years now, which we'll get into that. But then, you know, in 2007, I saw like my friend who's now a leftist, but he posted a Ron Paul video on Facebook randomly, and I just happened to see it. It was, I think, like the Giuliani debate or something like that, and that was, you know, that was kind of the red pill. I just went, dove deep in from there, did, you know, helped Ron Paul 2008, 2012. And then once I found out and really learned about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and blockchain, I figured that was the, you know, fastest and safest way for all of us to you know, promote a more peaceful and prosperous society. So I've been doing that ever since.
That's great. So basically your father, and we'll get into the story, it's a crazy story. It's another sort of, that's another thing we're going to get into is Ross Ulbricht and what you guys are doing to try to help him. A lot of people are in cages here in the US who didn't really do anything at all, and we'll get into that story. So a lot of crazy stories, and you know, just, you know, so you had that happen to you, and then you started to learn about libertarianism. Then you found out about crypto, and then you became a crypto entrepreneur. That's very cool. And well, I don't even know how you guys met.
Well, it was through Bitcoin, actually.
Yeah,
oh, I should mention as well, you're also known as the, what is it, Bitcoin?
Not the crypto couple.
Not the crypto couple. They used to be the crypto couple, and then someone tried to sue them for it. There's a ton of crazy stories. Just stay tuned. So let's get into how you became in.
You can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually was an Obama supporter, and when I met him, I was just...
That guy.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I was a Democrat, and then I met Kingsley. He called me. I was working downtown at the D Hotel, which we will get into.
We will get into that as well, yes.
I was working there, and he called me and mentioned that he wants to put on a Bitcoin meetup because the D was the first hotel downtown to accept Bitcoin back in 2014. So we did, and we put it on. It was 100 people. It was awesome, and that kind of just started me on my journey. And then a year later, we started dating, and he would ask me all these questions, like, why do you believe this? And I'm like, because that's what they taught me in school, duh.
Poking holes.
Yeah, and I could not, I didn't have.
He got you with the Socratic method.
Yeah, I know. And it was genius, honestly, because like he never judged me. I mean, maybe a little bit, but he never really outwardly judged me. And when I, you know, advocated for things that, you know, most anarchists and, you know, people defiantly stand against, he stood there and just was like, why? And once I realized I could not justify and really had reasons for what I believed, I was like, okay, well, I'm a libertarian. There it is. And then I started watching Ron Paul videos, and I saw what the media did to him, because I was, you know, I was a Democrat through all that. So like that was totally off my radar back when he ran. And I just looked at him and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that to Ron Paul. Like, I'm so angry. And, you know, and then just Bitcoin, and now we are here, and I'm an anarchist, and I fell down the rabbit hole, and there's no way I'm climbing back out of it, so.
And now we both run the, mostly she runs the Las Vegas Bitcoin Meetup, which is the largest Bitcoin meetup in Vegas.
Yeah.
Great. How many people is it now?
We have 800 about
almost 800.
Pretty good for
It's like
Vegas.
more than a meetup, that's like a
Well,
event.
that's the whole,
Yeah, well, that's how many people are on our meetup.
Yeah.
But I mean, during the bear market, my biggest meetup was probably about 60 people.
Which is pretty good.
Which is pretty damn good.
We had the previous bear market, we had Andreas Antonopoulos show up, and there was like 10 people that showed up. Because you know, Bitcoin was dead, of course. So yeah, I was pretty excited during this last bear market. We still had like a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of people working on different projects. Yeah, it's a really good community.
I love it, and the Bitcoin blockchain industry is kind of booming here in Vegas.
Is it?
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. Like, there's a lot of different tech companies doing cool things. There's a lot of companies that aren't doing cool things and they're total shit. But I mean, you have the ladder, and it's just really fun to come together. So
cool. So where should we begin on the crazy stories? I actually want to start with your father.
Yeah, let's talk about
what
that.
I actually have known you for a number of years, and I did not know about this till I think this year. And when I heard about it, and I think there was something online about it, someone wrote about it, or maybe it was you had a petition or something. I was like, what? So tell that horrible story.
So in 1993, my father was caught with actually his girlfriend at the time, who, man, this is a long story. So his girlfriend at the time basically, you know, got caught by the police, and so she, you know, they turned her into basically an informant on him. You know, apparently at the time, my father wasn't involved. It was during the cocaine cowboy days back in Florida. So he had already got busted like 2 times previously for, you know, the nonviolent, you know, drug crimes, and apparently, you know, he was out of the game at that point. And then his girlfriend, you know, got caught, and then became an informant for the police. And when she actually got him to get her cocaine, and you know, you know, the story is that he was like reluctant to do it, but you know, he did it. He had the contact still. And it was a small amount of cocaine, less than $800 worth, which is like, I don't know, they say like a couple tablespoons, something like that. And so she went into the bathroom and then called the cops when she knew that he had it. They came in and took him away. And he you know, they actually offered him 15 years if he would, you know, plead guilty. 15 years, yeah, 15. Yeah. So then, but he didn't do that. He went to court, which now looking back, you know, maybe it was the wrong decision. But you know, now it's 25 years later, and he got a 60-year sentence for a nonviolent drug.
For a couple of teaspoons or tablespoons of cocaine.
Yeah.
That he got set up on.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty crazy story.
I know people who do 2 tablespoons in a night.
Right, yeah.
I don't suggest it, but I know that, you know, like it's basically nothing. Like there's literally millions of people who do that all the time, and he's been in jail for decades and decades, and it looks like, you know, unless something changes, his entire life for a couple baggies of cocaine. Yeah, crazy. Yeah. So you have, go on.
Oh, I was gonna say, I mean, right now we're like you mentioned, we have a petition online. There's a chance that he can get out next year. If we're lucky, you know, we're dealing with government here. But you know, they finally have, the clemency board finally has his file, so they're reviewing his file later this year. It takes them, you know, months and months just to review file, and you know, we'll see what happens. But we should have a word by September or December the latest with what's going to happen. But I mean, you know, it's a waste of money, $30,000 a year, keep them in there.
Oh yeah, the whole, everything doesn't make sense about this war on drugs, right? No. And it's so weird to see that the war on drugs in some ways is almost ending, right? Yeah. And so like tomorrow I'm going to go to the cannabis shop here. They're all over the place because my wife likes weed, and buy a bunch for her. And it's like, whoa, like 2 years ago you'd be in jail for like 10 years for doing that. Yeah. And you know, cocaine's a little different, not that much different really. You know, it's whatever. It's just, you know, everything to do with government.
Well, now mushrooms, you know, are legal in Oakland and Colorado.
And in Oakland and California as well. So it's It's looking promising.
Yes, it's a weird sort of moment where we've gone from this horrible war on drugs to something a little bit. Now the government's basically trying to take over all the industries, right? And it's getting bad in that way, but at least people aren't in cages anymore. They're just like making the quality worse, making it more expensive, extorting a lot of money. But that's better than what happened to a lot of people. We're talking millions of people, I believe, in the U.S. are in cages for just having a plant in their pocket.
Yeah, I think I've done the numbers because I do a lot of research into this, and I think it's like around like 400 to 500,000 people are in for nonviolent drug crimes.
A lot of them are even for marijuana, which again you can just buy anywhere.
And they're still like,
I know.
They're still in cages. You know, like marijuana has been legalized in how many states for recreational use, and they're still sitting in their cages.
Yeah, it's just everything to do with government is just horrible. But you have a petition, I believe. Is that something you want to mention?
Yeah. So if you go to change.org and what's the keyword?
Free Michael now.
Yeah, Free Michael now.
Yep.
And yeah, please sign the petition. We have over 5,000 signers so far, and it helps because when we talk to these bureaucrats and people in government over in Florida, it's a state penitentiary where he's at. It does help. It shows that hey, there's people that care about this, and it shows that he has a community behind him, so that when he does get out, he's not going to fall back into that thing. And my dad's such a great guy and super smart, so it's just so sad to think of how much time has been wasted so far. But
and time away from you.
Yeah, and his it was the rest of his family as well.
Yeah, well, you can't even. I was in jail. I've been in jail a few times. I broke out twice in St. Kitts. I broke out twice in one night in St. Kitts. But
you broke out and then they caught you and then you.
And then I got a presidential pardon in St. Kitts. Long story. You can look it up online. I'll tell that story another time. But I've also been in jail a few other times, all for the same sort of stuff. Nothing. I didn't hurt anyone or anything. Right. Man, one night even, that. I still remember how horrible it was. That was just one night. I can't even imagine. We'll get into the Ross Ulbricht part, but I just want to mention the petition thing because, a lot of anarchists talk about petitions, and, everyone's got their strong opinions on everything, and some people are going to go, "Oh, if you sign a petition, you're asking for."
You're asking permission.
It's
from
like,
the
please
state.
let us go. In this case particularly, you're just, and please go, and just frickin', I don't know, is it a digital signature or something?
Yeah.
Just go and click. We don't believe they have authority. We don't believe they're legitimate, but this might help your father, right? And that's how we change the world. We help, right? So we've got thousands of people watching this. We'll have the link down below. If you don't do it, you're a dick. So
I ran into a couple of people who have said that same thing.
It's true.
And really, I mean, what this is like, it's a criminal organization or a terrorist organization is holding my father captive, and they're
and we have to play by their rules. Unfortunately. It's terrible. But
until Bitcoin hits $1 million, and I can get it now.
Yeah, helicopters, rope.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. But
I'm down for that.
it sounds like a great. I feel like Joby Weeks would be like, yeah, let's go. He would head it up.
I told Lynn Ulbricht, Ross's mother, that if there's a few more years here, let's raise some money in Bitcoin and let's go in there hard and just get them out.
Yeah.
Have a chopper ready. Fuck you guys,
It's so sad, but there are two sides to every story. You know what I mean? And I see that a lot coming from, people who make the argument, don't want to ask permission from the state, don't want to sign a petition.
Yeah.
There definitely are two sides to every story, but it comes down to the fact: do you really think that someone should be spending 60 years in a cage for $850 worth of cocaine? That's what it comes down to. He's a non-violent person.
Yeah, obviously.
So
that leads us into the Ross Ulbricht, and you guys are doing Anarchovegas, which is, I don't know how many, I think it's third or fourth sort of spin-off of Anarchapulco now. The first one I went to was Anarchapulco, then Anarchizona, so I guess it's the third one, Anarchovegas, and there's going to be Anarchadelphia in September, which is really cool. And you guys started that up, and before we get into too much about that, one of the things you're going to do is a fundraiser for Ross. So mention that.
Yeah, so Saturday, July 20th, we are going to be throwing a benefit. And so we're going to have a table for people to write letters to Ross, a donation box. We have some items to auction off. Proceeds from the party will go to Ross's legal fund. It's very, very sad, and we really do feel for Lynn considering Kingsley's situation.
She's going to be there, isn't she?
Yeah. She will. She's going to be giving a short little speech on Saturday night. So it'll be really fun. We're just, it's a prohibition, and it's time for it to end. So we're going to actually dress up.
Amen.
So you got to dress up with us in prohibition style
What does that mean,
flappers
like
and
30s sort of attire?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. Yeah, help me out.
Josh will definitely be able to help you.
Josh Sigurdsson, World Alternative Media, or Weather Alternative Media, is over there filming for us. Yeah, that's great. And I have to say, from what I've seen of Anarchovegas so far, and this is coming up in just a couple weeks, so if you're anywhere near Vegas and you want to go, definitely check it out. It looks really good. Yeah, you got a really good lineup. Maybe mention some of the people who's speaking there. I know Larkin Rose.
Well, there's this guy, Jeff Berwick, speaking.
He's not that important.
Yeah, well, you know. Then we have G. Edward Griffin. We have Larkin Rose, as you mentioned, Amanda Rocklitz, who I heard speak at Anarchizona, and
She's amazing.
she blew me away.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to give a little bit of inside information about Anarchapulco, that I saw her in Anarchizona as well, and I've seen her another time speak, and she wasn't on the main stage this year because we only have like 35 spots, right? And there's like 150 amazing people. I always feel bad when we can't, but I was like, let's get her back on the main stage. So a little bit of inside information, we're going to have her back in Anarchapulco as well, because she's so such a great.
She's so passionate.
So passionate. Yeah.
It really like fuels my soul, you know. So like I saw her and I was like, I have to have her on stage. So we have her. We have Avins O'Brien speaking. We have a independent media panel with all the independent medias, including Ford Fisher, who I don't know if you're familiar with.
I am. I didn't know much about him until this year, and then all the stuff that happened to him. I know, of course, Luke Rudowski and Dan Dix and Josh Sigurdsson, but I wasn't totally aware of him. And then he's been like banned off everything and shadow banned and demonetized. And I looked into him. I was like, oh, he's doing some good work. So I'll look forward to meeting him.
Yeah, that's going to be good. We have a crypto panel with not like celebritarians, but just everyday people who have created something to further just advance the world. So I'm incredibly excited about that, and you know, hopefully they spit a little bit of inspiration to the audience about how they can create their own crypto project to better the world. And
we have
Bo of the Fifth Column, who you recently just
actually through you guys, I actually met him through Yakov as well, who's also involved, I believe. Past Anarchast guest Yakov Markel is also involved, and I saw he was at your thing, and I was like, is he an anarchist? And then I found out he was. I had him on my show.
It's very confusing because Occupy Democrats page shares his stuff, and like when I saw that, I was like, who is this guy? Like, what? Why are we even entertaining this thought of having him speak? And then I listened to one of his videos, and I was just like, okay, it makes sense. He's an anarchist, but for whatever reason,
he's doing it right, in my opinion. And I talked about this on my show. Is, you know, just doing an anarchist show like this is the anarchist show. Welcome to anarchy. You know, like that's going to just turn off a lot of people. So he doesn't do that, and he's got his own sort of style. And I did the same. I watched one of his videos on immigration. And he's got the hat, he looks like a hick from like the woods, the sticks.
He's got the slow draw,
all that stuff, but I'm like, oh, he's just gonna say, you know, put them all in cages if they're trying to come here to our country. But he said total anarchist perspective on it, and I was like, oh, this is good. And that's what we need a lot more of, is people to speak what we're talking about, but from their own perspective, right? And without using the word anarchy too much, you know, because it scares people still because of the programming that they've been instilled with.
It's a good Trojan horse.
Yeah, totally. And there's a number of those sort of people now, so that's great. Is there any other speakers?
Yeah, we have Carrie Wedler. We have
she's on the media panel.
We have the lead developer, the CTO of Ravencoin, which is exciting. He'll be on the crypto panel.
I've heard about that. I don't know much about it, so I'll look into that.
That's Bruce Fenton's project. I know you're familiar with him.
Yeah.
Oh, and the man, the myth, the legend, G. Edward Griffin.
Yeah, I mentioned him.
Oh, you did? Okay. Sorry, I just get really excited about it. I love him.
But we can mention him again because he's such a big name. So yeah, we're very, very excited about that.
That's great. And just so people, if you don't know, it's right after FreedomFest, which has been around for about 10 years, and it's not an anarchist conference, and it's like almost not even libertarian. A lot of Republicans, a lot of pro-war people.
Yeah, Colin Powell's going to be there this year.
Is he?
I think so.
You know, I don't want to demean it, but it's definitely not fully anarchist.
Yeah.
And
I think it's cool that they have. I know they have Candace Owens going. And I was like, I saw that, and I was like, Yakov, we have to get Candace Owens and Larkin Rose doing a debate. That'd be so good. And he was like, nah.
Yeah, so FreedomFest was actually sort of like the first Anarchapulco. It was like a predecessor to it. And it's in the U.S. and they have a sort of older audience in general, and so they couldn't just be an anarchist conference 10 years ago. Like it just, anarchy's grown so much in the last 10 years, it was just not possible. But it's actually getting a lot more anarchists. So this year it's going to be like Doug Casey's there, I think Jeffrey Tucker, myself. I'm on like 4 different panels. So it's becoming more anarchist, which is good. But what you did was you timed it to come on right after that, which is great because a lot of people, I know a lot of people who are anarchists who go to FreedomFest. Yakov goes there every year. I see him. I think I see Avens there all the time. Yeah. So right after, you can go to a full anarchist event, which is great. Yep. And you might want to just mention the dates. I think FreedomFest is July 17th to 20th. And then what's your dates?
So they end on the 20th and we start on the 20th. Okay. So our party starts Saturday night. The Free Ross party starts Saturday night at 8 p.m. And then on Sunday, we have a speaker's brunch going 11:30 in the morning. And then we actually start late at 1 p.m. The doors open and we probably go to like 7:30. And just because everyone's going to be in town for Freedom Fest, it's Vegas. We all know like there are hangovers that happen, and we wanted to give people some time on Sunday to just kind of collect themselves and be like, all right, let's go be refreshed by all the awesome anarchist speakers. So
that's cool. And I think Larkin's also doing Candles in the Dark beforehand.
Yep. So we have Candles in the Dark. That's happening on Friday and Saturday, 10 to 4. And then we have Juan Galt coming with his girlfriend Anastasia. And so they are putting on a crypto digital security workshop. So cool. Yeah, to teach people how to protect their cryptos in the right way.
Yeah, that's great. It looks, I'm pretty excited about it.
Me too.
Good job.
Thank you.
We put it together in 90 days.
Yeah. We literally we're 90 days out and we're like, should we do this thing? Let's just, see what we can do in 90 days. And
that was about the same with Anarchapulco, the first one.
Oh, yeah.
It was maybe like 4 or 5 months before. And really, I just started up, I'm an entrepreneur like you are, and as an entrepreneur, it's like, well, let's just try, see what happens, right? Yeah. Everyone's like, it won't work. I'm like, let's just try.
Yeah.
Put up a website, tell people about it, and about 150 people showed up. And I have a feeling you're going to have quite a bit more than that, actually. From what I've seen, there seems to be a lot of buzz about it.
Thank you.
From what I've seen.
That's our goal. We're getting there for sure. When we started this, my goal was really to kind of match what Anarchapulco did, and just like 150 people come together.
Anarchizona.
Anarchizona played a part too, but it's like the model.
You're talking about the first year,
model was like, okay, well,
right.
Anarchapulco started. It was like 150 people, and like that's all I want. I just want to create like a very grassroots feel, and I just want people to be happy to come together and with like-minded people. And then we went to Anarchizona,
which was great, by the way.
Oh my
I really liked it.
It was so
Michael
great.
did a great job running that.
Yeah, Michael McGill.
I actually talked to him about it, like helping run Anarchapulco after that. I don't know if we've worked it out or anything, but like I was like, man, you really did a good job.
Yeah, and the speakers were just awesome. Like we went with a couple of new anarchists that we kind of talked to and turned. And they really, really enjoyed it, and so did we. And so we came back and we're like, we're doing this thing.
Cool.
Yeah. So we're excited to have you join us, and I'm just super excited.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many people show up. I have a feeling it's going to surprise you, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Just because I've seen people talking about it all over the place, which is not very normal for a brand new event. Right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we have 500 capacity, so let's pack the house.
Yeah.
We're gonna be infiltrating Freedom Fest too, trying to get last minute people.
That's actually not a bad idea, and actually, I don't know how I want to bridge to this topic, but you guys were going to have it at the D Hotel.
Yeah.
And tell us that story.
Yeah, so I mean, I had a good relationship there, and like I worked there for 3 years. I know the owner pretty well. Like I know his wife. Like we're pretty good friends, And
we've thrown events there. We've done like 3 pretty big, events there with Bitcoin meetup in my previous company. So.
And no issues.
Have a history with it.
Yeah, good relationship. Yeah.
And so. Like that was my go-to hotel for just about everything, drinking, events. Yeah. And so one day, we signed the contract, and then 13 days later after we signed the contract and put a deposit down, I'm like here hanging out by the pool, just kind of enjoying the day, and I get a call from the sales manager, and she's like, we just have to cancel your event. I'm really sorry. And I'm just like, what? This is like 60 days out. I'm freaking out. I don't know what to say. And I just managed to get off the phone, and I call Yakov, and I'm like, this is what happened. And apparently they said that Larkin Rose is on a terrorist watch list.
And they got contacted by Metro.
They got contacted by Metro and the FBI, and they cannot hold our event there.
Of all people, Larkin Rose. The person, I call him the Anarchist Buddha.
Yeah, really.
He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he just sits under a tree and smiles and thinks really grandiose thoughts and talks about just don't hurt anyone. And he's on a, according to them, I don't think it's true.
No.
No, because we reached out to Larkin. We're like, has this ever happened before? And he's like, I fly all the time.
He goes to Anarchapulco.
Never have any
I think
issues.
someone tried to undermine your events. I don't want to speculate on who, because I don't know.
Yeah.
But someone definitely did, and I've heard a lot of things about the Las Vegas Police Department, how unbelievably horrible and corrupt it is. Like, they're basically like mafia times 10 here in Las Vegas.
It's like a little military here. They have like, I think it's a $500 or $600 million budget for such a, Vegas isn't that big of a city.
Yeah. And I have a feeling that whoever it was had a connection there, and he just made a call. I don't know who it was. But here's the interesting thing is, so you actually aren't really announcing, and I don't even know where Anarchovegas is going to be held at, because you have to be careful now that you don't get shut down again. So how are you dealing with that? You're going to tell people kind of like quietly at the last minute sort of thing?
Blindfold them, put them in the back of a van.
Sending a text message, meet in the corner and we'll get a black van and pick you up.
Well, it's funny because when I first started in Anarchapulco, a lot of people said, why didn't you have it in the U.S.? I'm like, I don't think you could do it in the U.S., like a true freedom conference, a conference where you're talking about complete freedom. You can't do that in Land of the Free. A lot of people said, I don't think so. I think you can. And so when that happened to you, I felt bad for you, but I was like, yeah, that's sort of what I thought might happen.
It was pretty crazy. I mean, the fact that we're not telling people where the venue is, like, I've gotten a lot of questions about it.
That's kind of cool in a way, though. It's like underground anarchist conference to talk about don't hurt anybody.
Yeah, it's got a good mysterious feel. I like it a lot. I don't know if it's holding us back any.
I don't think so.
I actually
don't
don't
even
think
have a little bit of, like I said, a little bit of like, whoa, this anarchist conference is cool. They won't even tell you where it is.
Yeah.
But I think you did mention it's going to be somewhere in the area of the D Hotel, right? Like if people want to book a hotel if they're coming to it and they want to be close to it, where would you suggest? Don't stay at the D, I don't think.
No. It's actually by the, it's south of the Strip.
We renamed the D in our vocabulary and we now call it the F. So don't stay at the F.
Yeah. And get on their Yelp and just downvote it.
Oh my gosh, well, it was crazy because like when they did that to us, we posted an announcement of like, and the email that they sent us, and so many people, it was like 40, 50, like just bad reviews one after the other.
That's the way to do it. That's how we can, sort of fight back to these sort of things,
this
right?
community is amazing.
And I find it so funny too. You sign a contract, right?
Yeah.
Like I thought when you sign a contract here in the U.S., you're supposed to adhere to it. Well, apparently not.
That's the thing. Like we had a contract signed for 13 days, and they should have done their due diligence before they signed the contract. Like they had every right to turn down our event. Yeah. It's a private company. You had every right. But once you sign that contract, it's not just, what if we do something that breaches? You have to be responsible for the contracts that you sign. And that's something that the D, that's something that the D does not do.
Yeah,
and
we'll get to that soon.
But yeah, I think that, they're even in breach of contract.
Yeah, like you could probably sue them. That's what everyone in the U.S. does.
We're in talks with a lawyer.
I don't do it myself. I just don't want anything to do with the system. Yeah. But if they're going to attack you, might as well use the system against them. I bet you could get like a decent settlement out of it. But I wouldn't do it myself personally. I just stay away from all that stuff.
We had an option.
But you could, and I wouldn't look at you down as an anarchist for doing it.
Right.
You had a contract. That's like a big part of anarchy, right? Anarcho-capitalism is agreements.
Yeah.
And you had one under their stupid rules.
A signed agreement.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if they're going to get out of it, and then what does it say in their stupid rules? How do you deal with this, or how do you have an arbitration? You have to go to their stupid courts. I wouldn't look bad upon you if you did it.
Yeah.
And actually, I would recommend you do it. You might get like $1 million or so. Who knows, right? Like it is possible. Yeah. So by the way, Anarchovegas is going to have like 10,000 people. They were going to make like $8 million on this event, just for the court records here. So, if the D pays $2 million, I think you can walk away from the situation.
Maybe 2.5.
I don't want to speculate on the final number.
Yeah.
But we didn't get to, if people want to come to Anarchovegas, where would you suggest they stay if they want to be in the area?
So if you want to stay, so we're recommending the SLS Hotel, which actually just rebranded, and they're calling themselves the Sahara because that was the hotel that was there originally. Yeah, they announced it. Okay. So, but it's still SLS Vegas. right now. So that's a good hotel there. Rates are pretty reasonable. Also, we're recommending the Stratosphere. And the party and the venue are in separate locations, but they're all like 2-minute Uber rides away from both hotels. So those are the two that we're highly recommending. But
And
somewhere
if you're low on cash or crypto, Circus, but I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
And if you have a lot of cash, I just have to mention I'm staying at the Cosmopolitan. So like I've hated every hotel I've ever stayed at in Vegas. This is the first one I like, so I just got to give a thumbs up. Cosmopolitan. So it's fairly expensive, $300, $400, $500 a night. But that's where I'll probably be staying. Actually, that's where I'm going to be staying.
Yeah.
Because I just liked it so much. So I think we covered everything in Anarchovegas.
Yeah, and you can find the information actually there at anarchovegas.com, ANARCHO. Vegas.com. I got a little jingle. And then our Facebook page. So.
Yeah. Oh, and we'll also be live streaming the events through this new social network that we're launching. So that's also exciting too for people that can't make it. But we recommend that you come, obviously.
For the like-minded experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, a big part, as you guys know, for Anarchapulco is like it's not just sitting there in a chair listening to some speakers. To me, and I think almost everyone, it's like being around all these people and going out to lunch or going for drinks with people. That's the real fun.
I think it was 2 years ago, but I had a friend. We were all down in Acapulco, and we were just having such a fun time on the beach. And I was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, I'm just live streaming Anarchapulco from the beach, which is like 5 steps away." So that was, that's always an option. So.
Cool. And we haven't got into the not crypto couple. Do you want to mention what you guys do there?
Well, I mean, it was just like kind of like a fun little pet project that we were just doing. You know, we were trying to like market ourselves as the crypto couple. And then this other couple that I guess had already started maybe a year or two before. They don't have a large following, but they
on Facebook.
Yeah, we saw them, and they actually share the same last name as me.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird.
And I've talked to them, and they're very nice. They are.
Well, they
were very nice people.
They want to use
So they were like chatting, you know, about like, oh, you know, whatever.
That's so funny,
stuff.
crypto couple. Haha, you have the same last name as us. That's hilarious.
Then all of a sudden she gets an email from their attorney saying, hey, we just copyright or trademark the crypto couple.
Yeah.
So, basically cease and desist immediately or else we're going to take action. We're like, what? Where did this come from? Like, you were just like Facebook messaging
I was
each other.
I was at Anarchapulco when I got that email, and I was just like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Is there like a website or a YouTube channel or anything for that, or is it just your Facebook?
What do we have? Yeah, it's just
we have a
search.
Facebook page, just not the crypto couple.
Yeah.
We have to be a little bit more active on it. Since that incident, and since Anarchovegas, I've kind of just been like, it's whatever. But we'll pick back up on it.
Yeah, so we changed our name to Not the Crypto Couple, and then released like a message, a play on Elon Musk's Not a Flamethrower or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so whatever.
Cool. So check that out. We'll have all the links to all that stuff down below. Is there anything that we didn't talk about? I think we covered almost everything.
I think we did. Yeah.
Cool. And just so you know, Anarchapulco. It's almost like
it's getting confusing now.
I almost forgot the name of my own conference.
That's something that Yakov does all the time. He'll just be like talking to people and be like, well, come to Anarchapulco, it's July 20th. And he's like, oh my God.
There's a lot of events now, which is great. So for a lot of people out there who were saying like, oh, it's a long ways to go to Mexico. Well, now you got Vegas. That's one of the easiest places in the world to get to.
Yeah.
There's direct flights from everywhere in the world to Vegas. So it'll be a great event. But I just wanted to mention Anarchapulco as well. We haven't announced the speakers and the artists yet. We're going to blow everyone's mind next year in 2020.
Any spoilers in this little...
I don't want to give it away, but you won't believe it. It's going to be good. And it's going to be awesome. And I think we're going to sell out, I think, at 3,000 in 2020.
Nice.
And I think it's because the crypto market's back.
Yeah.
We were over 2,000 last year with Bitcoin like down 90%. Now with Bitcoin up hundreds of percent in the last few months, I think we'll probably hit it. So if you want to get tickets to that now, because we probably will sell it, I don't know when. I'm just going to estimate November, December, January, but I think we will sell out, so check that out as well. But definitely check out Anarchovegas. I'll be there. I'll be at FreedomFest as well, if you're going to be there.
We're actually selling your tickets at Anarchapulco. We're going to have a ticketing table selling other conferences tickets for like a one-day only deep discount.
Oh, Did we give you a deep discount?
You did. I talked to Jessica.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. I'm not involved in the details of the business, but that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of cool. We've got this little clique of anarchy conferences now, and I think there's going to be more even.
It's so nice to see little pockets of anarchy popping up and like
Yeah.
all over the world. And we've gotten messages saying, "Thank you so much for throwing this conference. How can I throw an anarchy conference in my community?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just do it. Yeah, like
Yeah,
you just
you don't need to get a license or a contract. Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've said for a long time, the whole point of Anarchapulco is that we don't need Anarchapulco.
Yeah.
Like, we want to get the world to wake up from this brainwashing, get the people out of cages, stop the impoverishment, stop the wars, and have a point where, and I mentioned this to someone once, and they said, you know, even if we get to that point, we'll still have Anarchapulco. And I said, but what will we do? And he said, we'll just party. we'll just like every year we'll just get together and party. It's like we did it. Like we got the world to a better place. But it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of events like Anarchovegas. It's going to take a lot of people like you hitting like, hitting share,
and subscribe.
And yeah, subscribe, hit that petition. Spend a couple seconds. Like, that's all it takes. That's really all it takes. It's just people like take 10 minutes a month and just help.
Yeah.
That's all we really need.
Today on my Facebook page, I put up a post and I was like, how can I like help you? Like plug yourselves and like let's figure out as a community, because I always think back to Amanda's speech at Anarchizona.
Here we go.
And so, you know, basically her thing was, let's create an iron web, you know, like go to each other for the things that we need and stop calling random companies, stop going to the government. And, you know, and so like, if we just all take 10 minutes out of our day to help another individual be, you know, it'll change the world.
Even 10 minutes a week, 10 minutes a month,
Yeah.
like just do something.
All it takes is a little bit
Don't
of time.
sit there and go, I hope those guys fix everything. It's like, we can't do it all by ourselves. Get over here, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media. Give this guy $5 a month.
Oh, come on.
Give him, come
Even
on.
$1 a month.
$1.
helps
Give him $1 a
independent
month.
media so
Yeah, it's true. They'll endorse this. Yeah.
yeah.
Like, really, he's got like, you know, how many subscribers you got? Like 100,000?
130.
130,000. If every single one gave $1 a month, and I'm sure almost all of them wouldn't even notice that. I know I wouldn't notice $1 a month. It's like, I don't know, it's like pocket change, right? That'd be $130,000 a month. Josh should be running CNN.
Yeah.
Act way better than CNN, but like it's that kind of quality. You'd be like Wolf Blitzer report, but with like the truth and not propaganda.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. $1 a month. Like, come on, do it.
Do something.
Do something. But we'll leave it at that. Yeah, just don't just sit there. And if everyone just does something, one little thing, the whole world changes.
Yeah, it's true.
It's that easy. You know, when we first started like Anarchast and Anarchapulco, a lot of us were very depressed and like, I don't think we can ever fix this thing. And now 10 years later, Larkin Rose said, when I first met him, had him on Anarchast like 10 years ago, he's like, no, it's going to be generations. And now he's like, maybe like 10 years. Like,
Yeah.
that's how fast it's changing. And all it takes is do something.
Well, I love Larkin's, like, basically his explanation about candles in the dark. You know, like, everyone's so in the dark right now, but when you light one candle and you just continue to light, it lights up the whole world. So it's, you know, all you gotta do, guys, is just take some time out, help, be a caring person.
Just do something, you know, like just, you know, so many people, I guess it's the government schools or the propaganda on television.
And the vaccines.
Yeah, the fluoride in the
Don't get us
water.
started.
Yeah, don't get me
We'll go
started.
on for another 45 minutes.
We can do this 3 hours if you want. But it's something, and a lot of people, when you talk to them, they go, oh, I wish we could change the world. It's like, we can. And you talk to them and you get the sense like, they're like, oh, I can't do anything about it. Yeah, you can. Every single person can.
That's the goal of Anarchovegas. I mean, we want to give a platform to good people who are just inspired. I mean, think about it. Josh Sigurdson, okay, how old were you when you started?
18.
18 years old. What does it take to get an 18-year-old to go and confront politicians and to call out the evilness of the world? It was
Check
just
out
a
him
decision.
on Bernie Sanders, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Trudeau.
That was an experience.
Yeah, and his Bernie Sanders one, what did it get, like 5,000 views? He got so shadow banned. So, you know, just hitting like and subscribe and share on these videos just helps a lot.
Yeah.
And so basically you're sitting there, you're going, oh, I wish the world would be better. It's like all it takes is you going like this. Click, like, that's it. we can do the rest pretty much. We just need your support. So I think we'll leave it at that. The sun's going down. We're here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I just busted out of the World Series of Poker. I played pretty good this time,
Again.
but yeah. Anyway, I got to meditate on if I should ever play poker again, basically. But it was a good time, and that's all that really matters. And so we'll leave it at that. Like, subscribe, share this video, and that's it for Anarchast. Your home for what was my tagline?
Home for
Your home for
anarchy
anarchy on
the
internet. Peace, love, and anarchy.
Anarchapulco, it's so hype, I'm trying to tell ya. This the event of the year and best vacation ever. Ron Potter, Jeffrey Tucker, just to name a few. Get your tickets, you don't wanna miss it. You should roll through. Talking politics to health and self-improvement to investing. So many things, not one thing. Learn how to live life unchained, yeah. 4 days vibing on the beach, time to connect. All about growth, way more than a conference. This is Anarchapulco, yeah. Let's go.
You ain't seen nothing yet.